Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call, and I'm joined by my brother.
What's up, guys?
Gritty Broman. So, today's podcast is with Stone Glacier. My friend Jeff Sposito works over there.
Hey, isn't there a song about Jeff Sposito? Jeff Sposito. Something about it eating a burrito? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't. Well, I don't know. I mean,
No?
we could make one up. I think it would
No,
be pretty
there's
cool.
totally. It's a big song. It's a big song all over the radio. I'm sure plenty of people caught my joke.
Okay. And we were joined by Becky Layne, which is not my cousin.
Nope, but we have a cousin named Becky Layne.
We do. And by Jeff Agostino. Is that how you say it?
Good job.
I think I nailed it.
Agostino, that one.
And that is Russian.
Is it?
No.
I was going to say, Agostino.
So,
Russian's not good. I apologize.
but yeah, they were.
Show or
Yeah,
something?
they did a really cool giveaway that Stone Glacier put on for the folks that lost their homes in the fire. It was great. It was a good talk. So we get to talking a little bit about Stone Glacier and the company and such, and it's good stuff. Before we get into the show, we got a couple of things we're going to read from the mailbag.
Yeah, so this is something that a lot of people have been asking about. This is from iTunes. It says, love the podcast, 5 stars, by UTKP. Thanks, whoever you are. Great content. I would love to hear an episode on tips for the want-to-be bowman on a budget. I want to up my archer game, but can't bring myself to spend thousands every year on the latest and greatest. Where can one get the most bang for the buck? Thanks. What's like 2 or 3 things for like under $50 that you think is like a serious game changer when it comes to either archery or maybe just hunting in general?
Okay. To get gear, just cheap gear, I really like Camo Fire.
I was going to say Camo Fire and Black Ovis and REI outlet sales and stuff.
Yeah, so we would go to those REI garage sales where you line up and all their rental gear and used
True
gear.
fact, that's the only place I've gone to and gotten into a fist fight in my entire life.
Yeah, it's gnarly. It's intense. But yeah, I have sat there and gotten into some scraps. But there's different REI stores, and they do the garage sales, and you can spend the night in line. So you're at the front of the line, and they open the doors, and you run in and you grab some stuff. I don't know if they're still doing that. I think they are.
A lot of companies, especially over the last couple of years and like Black Friday stuff, they get away from that stuff because people get in fights on their property, and then they're liable.
Well, anyway, Camo Fire is great, though. They buy a ton of gear. You can get it for half off and stuff, and just go to camofire.com. I think there's an app in the app store. I don't know, used on eBay. You can do stuff like Craigslist, KSL, stuff like that.
There's a lot of things you do not have to be new.
But that's the other thing too, is you can kind of go hunting in your regular stuff too. It doesn't need to be camo. It doesn't need to be technical. Depends on what you're doing. Comfort helps you stay there longer.
True.
But I would just, I just get the gear. You can, we may do in jeans and flannels forever. So
my very first hunt I went on, which was in the snow, BT dub, I wore jeans the whole time because no one said, oh, by the way, snow.
You're still harboring on that? Dad and I were dressed pretty warm.
Yeah, I know you were.
You're the dumb kid who didn't come prepared.
I was 13, and no one said, hey, buddy. I
think I was.
I don't even think I even owned a pair
30?
of snow pants, Brian.
Anyway. So, yes. Get your gear at Walmart, whatever. Sportsman's Warehouse. Just get your whatever you need and just get out and start doing it.
I also think learning to go without is a great skill.
Yeah. We bought our tents at Walmart, me and Ben. We had $20 tents. I remember we made this trip.
Were they made out of paper mache?
Seriously, they were $19.99. $19.99.
If I got a tent for $19.99, I would think, this will not hold up. No way am I going to sleep in this in the middle of the wilderness.
Well, we did. And it weighed like 50 pounds. It was just it was actually a little dome tent. I don't remember how much it weighed, probably 38 pounds or something.
Probably.
And we split the poles in the tent and we hiked into the wilderness in Oregon. And we brought peanut butter and jelly and like 4 loaves of bread.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And that's pretty much all we ate. And we had a diesel Dasher.
The Dash? Yeah, you took the Dasher.
Volkswagen diesel Dasher. Little hatchback. It had a sunroof, man. You could crank it.
Ooh, a crankable sunroof.
But it was like, it started up, like that.
Hold on. When you said, was there like...
It was a crank. Yeah, you crank it with your hand.
For the sunroof?
Yes.
Where did the crank stay?
It was just up in the ceiling.
Just dangling up above you?
Yeah, it kind of folded down and folded back up.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird.
You're just young, Brent. I mean, I grew up in a Volkswagen van that had a crank sunroof, too.
Yeah, my parents had money by the time I came around.
We had the same parents, by the way.
Just
different generations. But yeah, we drove that diesel Dasher and it got the job done. Got the job done well. It was like $20 to drive days and days in that thing. Anyway, I would say don't let gear stop you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
As far as actual items to get, I would invest in boots. I would invest in a good backpack. And I would invest in, depending on your climate and where you're hunting, rain gear.
Not sleeping?
Good rain gear. I don't know. I mean, tent, sleeping bag, pad. That's if you're backpacking.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing that, of course, that's important. But you're just you can get some great stuff for cheap. It just weighs more.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's really what you pay for. Lighter weight,
cheaper stuff that weighs a little more. But boots, backpack, and rain gear. And if you invest there, I wouldn't spend a ton of money on my gun or my bow or any of that stuff. I'd put it more in the other gear because there's a lot of great bows out there, a lot of great arrows, a lot of great equipment for weaponry. You can get the job done there. But I would invest in a pack and boots and rain gear. Those are the essentials in my opinion.
Cool.
You get that stuff dialed, you can have a pretty good hunt. All right, folks. Thanks for writing in those letters. Appreciate it. Who was that sent by?
UTKP.
Thank you for the comment. Sign up for our newsletter and
send us comments, send us emails.
Yeah, we're going to start doing some giveaways. We have a film night coming up on February 15th, the Western Hunt Expo that's coming up here really soon. And hopefully we sell that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be the Mountain Offs movie night. We have a lot of fun stuff we're going to do. We have a gritty film that's being shown there, along with a few others. They're very cool films. I've seen them and I'm excited. Yep. So hopefully we see you guys there and enjoy the show. Let's get started. All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. Before me today, I have some folks from Stone Glacier. My friend Jeff Sposito.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Jeff.
Hello.
Taylor Agostino, which don't try to spell it, folks. I tried earlier. It doesn't work. And Becky Layne.
Yes.
She has the same name as my cousin Becky. So I should be able to remember that pretty easily. And Becky, you've been in the industry quite a while in the hunting kind of space.
I have.
Did I hear you say to Jordan, like, since you were
20?
20?
Yeah.
And you started out with the Wild Sheep Foundation?
Yep. I worked there for 26 years.
26 years.
Yeah. Started off answering the phone.
Wow, 26 years.
It's a long time.
What was that like?
It was overwhelming, really. I hunted all my life in Wyoming, but I didn't know. I knew there was a bighorn sheep, obviously. No idea there were sheep all over the world. So, and then I started in February. We went to Reno like 2 weeks later to this convention, and things were selling for $400,000 for a hunt. And I was blown away. I had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you get involved in that, with that job in the first place?
The gal that was in charge of the Sheep Foundation at the time, I knew her. She was getting her hair cut one day, and she's like, "Need a job?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do, actually." That was it. Nothing special.
Becky's been to every sheep show consecutively since since then. 26 or 7 sheep shows
so
in a
I think
row,
it was
which is pretty crazy.
91, we were in Reno.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
At the time, so they had a gal was let go, and I kind of took her place, and I actually flew to Reno on her ticket.
That's crazy.
Can't do that anymore.
Nope.
I've been to one sheep show
Okay.
last year.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I liked it.
It's a fun show.
It was a cool show. It was very, it felt like you were among family. Like everybody there seemed to know each other because they go like year after year after year. Like it is a group of people. It's like, hey Joe, hey Bob, what's up? How are you?
Yeah.
Just
I think
throughout.
that's very true. It's a smaller show too, which
Yeah.
I think, but it's pretty niche and
And then when everybody showed up for the drawing, because you got to be present for the less than one, that was crazy too, because you had a lot. So the first part of the show, I felt like there were a lot of people with money. And then that night, I saw everybody roll in.
all the other
cannot
people
afford a sheep show or a sheep tag.
which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, then you have this mingling of obsessed human beings, people who are obsessed with sheep, all in one room, from all walks of life and different wealth levels and so on. And it was pretty cool. Like they're all joined together by that one obsession, sheep.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I haven't got the sheep bug. I haven't done it, so I think I gotta, reserve my judgment, until I've actually hunted a sheep. But they're so expensive, Jeff. I don't know if I'm ever going to.
Well, I'm in the same boat as you. I've never hunted sheep either, but I can see the
allure,
the aspirational qualities of them. They're cool animals and just the lure. But yeah, I don't personally have the bug either. It's a little bit out of my price range too.
Taylor, have you hunted sheep?
Nope, not yet.
Really?
I've been lucky enough to draw moose and goat in Montana, so basically if I can fill that, I get my big 3. So waiting for it.
Yeah, some of us are just limited to drawing somewhere the less than one club.
Yeah.
We show up for the free beer and
Apparently,
try to win hunt there every year too.
I've hunted tar, so I guess I'm out.
Does that eliminate you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a few sheep or a few
Aoudad,
species that, like if you get one of those, you're out of the club.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to the show again this year or no?
Still on the fence. I might. I'd like to.
Cool.
Just scheduling and stuff. So,
Yep.
So Taylor, Agostino,
Yeah.
which is Italian.
Yep.
What's your story?
Born and raised Bozeman, Montana. Not too many people that can say that, I don't think, anymore. It's definitely a growing town. So I grew up there, high school there, finished up my college there, and then kind of bounced around, did some different jobs here and there. A lot of guiding. I've guided the last 3-4 years for a ranch just north of Bozeman, the CA Ranch, and did some winter guiding for snowmobile tours from West Yellowstone into Old Faithful for several winters as well, kind of doing that. So a lot of seasonal work, and then just kind of bumped into a mutual friend of Jeff and I's, and was like, hey, Stone Glacier is looking for a dude to come help out, and kind of the right time of year, so I jumped in and kind of did a little bit of seasonal stuff here and there, and then jumped on full-time last December. Been with him ever since.
Taylor's been a good addition to our team. We gave him a seasonal, long-term interview and made sure that he would work hard and do what he said he was going to do. But yeah, he's been a good asset for us.
Nice. So Jeff,
Yes,
you were at Sitka. That's when we first met.
Yeah.
You were also working on a conservation project.
Yep.
2% for conservation.
That's right. Yeah.
And then you've since moved on with Stone Glacier.
Yep.
How long have you been there?
A little over 2 years now with Stone Glacier. Yeah. I left Sitka in November of 2016. So
Okay.
just about 2 years.
Wow. And
Yep.
how's it going?
It's been great. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. I started at Sitka when it was a pretty small company. I was there a long time. And I think some of my favorite days of Sitka were the early days when it was a real small startup company.
Mm-hmm.
Just how I'm wired. I enjoy that kind of a process of growing a brand. So it's been a good refresher to kind of go back. Stone Glacier is in a very similar state as Sitka was, when it was really small and I started there. So it's been fun to kind of get back into that, that type of kind of a, I don't know what the right term is. Gritty, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Gritty startup mode. Yeah. Like just kind of, everybody, small team, everybody has to do everything. And and you're really just trying to scratch and claw for some market share. And we're fortunate that Stone Glacier, we got great products and good people, so that makes everything a little bit easier, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Tell me this, this weekend, you guys had a big, one of the reasons you're here in Utah is you're passing through. You guys did a really cool project.
Yeah.
And I would like people that didn't know about it, to hear what it's all about and tell us how this thing got started, what it is and how it got started.
Sure. Yeah. We're driving. We're on our way back home right now. Driving back to Bozeman. Recently there was, as most people I think are aware, a couple major fires in California. One of which was called the Camp Fire in Northern California, and it essentially burnt down an entire town of about 30,000 people. And it just so happens to be pretty close to an area where I went to college and where my wife's from, where all of her family is from. So we were pretty intimately just aware of the area and had some connections to some family and friends who lost their stuff in the fire. Anyway, what we were doing, we gathered a bunch of donations, hunting gear, fishing gear for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've just kind of reached out through our networks of social media to ask individuals and companies to donate, any gear they didn't use anymore, returned gear from these companies. And, we collected it all, put it in our trailer and organized a giveaway event in the town to give it all away to these people that lost everything. So it's been pretty eye opening. It really just started as, just a few weeks before my wife's great uncle and her dad came out. We went mule deer hunting. And I gave him a used Stone Glacier pack and he was pumped. And I've given him some Sitka over the years and different pieces of gear that I didn't use. But his house burnt down, right? And I just gave him this pack and he's so pumped on it. And he's like, this shit, like that, this is so sad. This all that stuff. And so it started out by just saying, I can get another pack for him. I have some old gear I'll give to him. Then I found out another one of my buddies' house burnt down. I was like, I got some other gear I can give you. And then people from the shop were like, I got some stuff I don't use. So it kind of organically started, and eventually we're like, maybe we can gather a ton of stuff and give away as much hunting gear as we can. And it kind of snowballed from there. But yeah, we just did it on Sunday. Was that yesterday? 2 days ago. 2 days ago. It's been a whirlwind, and it went really well. Driving. It was very eye opening to see how grateful people were and just how many people lost everything. It's a crazy situation.
Yeah. How much gear did you guys haul down there?
We got a pretty big trailer and it was stuffed full. We were talking about this on our drive. I could just take a really uneducated guess of the value of it. I don't know, but there must have been $100,000 worth of gear. I mean, you think about, right, a Sitka jacket and pant cost $800 brand new, and most of the stuff was used, but we had a lot of new stuff too. But we had thousands of pieces of jackets and pants.
Yeah.
We had, maybe gloves. 60 to 100 pairs of boots. We had.
I saw Crispy
Crispy gave us 20 pairs of boots. I mean, there was some awesome stuff. We probably had 20 bows, tons of decoys,
really,
tons of waders,
Pontoon boat.
Yeah. I mean, there were some awesome donations. Yeah. So I can't even
How did
really
you
guess.
divvy this stuff out?
It was a little bit of organized chaos. And that was one thing that was kind of eye opening for us, is that at the end of the day, no matter how you do it, there's a first and a last person, right? And we wanted to make it as fair as possible and try to get gear to everybody.
Yeah.
We had over 600 people show up. So there's a ton of people there that we're trying to give stuff to. So essentially the method of the madness that we came up with is we gave everybody a number and checked IDs, to make sure that people did have addresses that were in the area affected by the fire. Mm-hmm. Just to try to prevent, people trying to get a free ride, which unfortunately just happens. So we had that control in there, and then we just kind of did random numbers. We called random numbers 10 people at a time. We had all the gear set up in wall tents and brought 10 people in, and we said that we had enough jackets and pants and hats and gloves that everybody could choose one jacket, one pant, one hat, one glove. And we had another wall tent that was full of all the other gear we had, all the archery equipment, fishing equipment. And we told everybody to choose, one big item from the gear equipment and try to get people through. And it seemed to go pretty well. Unfortunately, with 600 people, by the time we got to the last people, they'd been sitting there. It rained all day, of course. So some people were sitting in the rain for a long time waiting, and by the time they came down, people were still getting nice stuff, even at the end, but a lot of the high value, stuff started to get picked through.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, a lot of people walked away really happy and got some cool stuff. There was little kids wearing little Kuyu jackets and Sika jackets, and I don't know. It was cool.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of work.
Taylor, this your first time doing something like this?
Second, I believe. Or podcast stuff, or are you talking donation?
Like donations.
Donation stuff, yeah. Yeah, it was kind of the first big giveaway I've been a part of.
How'd you feel about California?
This is like
being a Montana boy
joke, because we were just in California in June, and we did a little pig hunt because Jeff has a little family ranch down there. And so the last time I was in California, it was 110 degrees out, and so I don't think I fare well in temperatures that high. So I wasn't a real big fan, but it was all right. And then this time, I think we went down there, and it just dumped rain on us pretty much the whole time.
Yeah,
so,
not a fan
of California
not a fan.
This point, no.
It's probably safe to say I probably won't ever live in California.
We tease. That's funny you asked that. We tease Taylor a lot because he's not a big fan.
Well, Becky, how did it in your long career in this kind of space, like with Wild Sheep? Have you ever done anything like this?
No.
Really?
It was very humbling to realize that. And eye-opening. I mean, like we've talked about, we all have so much stuff. And for a lot of people to part with that, we had jackets come in that had notes in them that said, "Hey, I hope this jacket serves you as well as it served me over the years." And
really?
Yeah. So people were really, really generous.
That's crazy, man.
It was cool. It was really neat to see how, as we know, working in this community, but how gracious and tight-knit the hunting community is, right? I mean, people from all over the country were sending us boxes of donations that were really heartfelt, with notes and stuff, just really hoping they'd go to get put to good use by these people that they've never met and a town they've never been to. So that was really cool to see.
I'm messing with Becky's microphone. This thing is a piece of crap.
Got it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I can hear your voice now.
Okay, good.
Nice.
Yeah, talk louder.
Talk louder.
So, Becky, back to you. How did you go from the Sheep Foundation over to Stone Glacier, and what happened in between?
Oh gosh. So, trying to think. I lost a friend, unannounced, from high school, and it just really made me think. I've been doing this for a long time, and I loved it. I loved my job, but there's more to life than that. So I took, almost a year off, traveled, packed my Jeep with my paddleboard, camped all around Southwest, ended up in California, which I enjoyed very much because it was like December, Montana. Stayed with some family, and then went to work for Stone Glacier. Jeff and I had talked a little bit, and
So you went from sheep to stone.
Yep.
With a little hippie phase in between.
Totally. Yeah.
That's a good way of saying it. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I really appreciate showers that don't take coins.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So I started May? I think it was May.
I think that sounds right.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's been a blur.
We're just very glad that she started. Big help.
I told Jeff this morning he always looks tired to me.
Yeah.
Yep. For the last couple of years. Like
Yeah.
every time I see him, he's a little tired looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Got little kids.
But I was going to say, kids will suck your soul.
They do. Absolutely.
Like young kids. So
They do.
now, tell me what's going on at Stone Glacier. What else is going on besides the big donation thing? Like, what are some changes that have happened since you've been there?
Lots of stuff. We're, Kurt Roscoe, who started our company, is a very talented guy. So when I left Sika, I partnered with him, and the goal was to, so a little bit of the backstory on Stone Glacier. So Kurt is the designer, the founder of Stone Glacier, and he, from the beginning of Stone Glacier, ran the company quite impressively just as like a hobby, a side job. It wasn't his full-time job. It was just, he liked to design stuff. He built a backpack, a design that he liked, built a few, sold them, When they were gone, he'd build a few more, sell them. And the brand recognition was growing quickly. And the product was a really well-designed product. So fast forward, we had been friends, for a while and started discussing any opportunities there were to grow the business. So Kurt still does all of our product design, and I came in to really focus on sales, marketing, business development, and kind of the day-to-day office stuff that he didn't have time to do because he wasn't running Stone Glacier at a full-time pace. And that really was about just kind of expanding on the foundation that he already created and about making better, more new cool products, expanding new categories. So last year we came out with a tent. It's the first product we've ever sold that wasn't a backpack. So that was really exciting for us. And then we plan to continue to just come out with more new products and just expand the offering of what Stone Glacier is. And it's been a lot of fun, and we got a lot of cool new things coming down the pipe.
How have the packs changed?
They've changed, not a ton really. His first design, the load shelf. It's a fun office around here. What's going on?
Party here at Mountain Ops. Too much Ignite.
Ignite kicking in, yeah.
Is that what you're drinking?
Oh, yeah.
The packs, we've added different bag configurations along. So I think the first offering from Stone Glacier is like 2 bags and 1 frame. So now we have 3 different frames and maybe, 12 or 13 different bag options. So just diversifying to meet all these different needs of hunters, whether you're going in for a 10-day sheep hunt or you're just day hunting out of your truck. So the pack line has really evolved from that standpoint. And then, we're working on some new products, sleeping bags, so another tent, some clothing pieces. So really just, as hunters that work for a brand, we just kind of look at all the different gear we use, and it'd be sweet to have all Stone Glacier gear for all those products. That might not be realistic, but that's where we're like, I don't know, can we make that? Can we make that cool? Can we make it different? Can we build something quality? And that's kind of where our heads are at this point.
Yeah. How's it going so far? There's good growth, and
it's going really well. Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool because, Aaron Snyder and I are good friends. Everybody listens to Grady knows I'm Kafaru for a long time.
Yeah.
And then we'll throw out, Aaron and I will use a Hilleberg tent for like when we're running something that's not a floorless shelter.
Yeah.
But there's just a ton of great stuff out there now. We've had Mountain, Mystery Ranch on the podcast before. And, you've got these different pack companies. You got Stone Glacier, Mystery Ranch, you got Kafaru, you got the Seek Outside doing some nice, gear as well. And in this space, it's pretty competitive.
Oh yeah.
Everybody
makes nice stuff now. I can't remember who, but we were just talking about that with somebody that I think it was at the Gear Drive, one of the volunteers that, as hunting consumers, right?
Yeah.
We all work in the industry, so it's a little different, but if you just step back as a consumer, we're all pretty lucky now that there's a lot of companies making really nice stuff.
Yeah, because you got Kuiu and Sika throwing out packs as well. And I mean, you start looking at the lineup, and there's quite
options.
There's some options there. So
it's good. And I think that also, as for all of us, all the brands you mentioned, I think it's healthy for just capitalism and business. It just keeps everybody on their toes. You got to keep innovating. You got to keep, designing. You got to keep your brand fresh, and that's good. That's good for the consumer because people are going to continue to make quality products. If you didn't have that, and it'd be easy as a business to get complacent. So it's good to have that healthy competition.
So now that we have healthy competition and there's a lot of options, Jeff, convince me why Stone Glacier's pretty sweet.
Oh, geez. Well, there's a couple of unique things that we do that not everybody does. Some of the brands you mentioned do, but all of our packs are made in the USA, which there's a certain demographic customer that really values that. We take a lot of pride in that. So we're really proud that we could say all of our packs are made with berry compliant materials, made in the USA. We assemble them all. So if you call Stone Glacier, whoever answers the phone, it's going to be a guy like Taylor, Becky, or myself. We probably put your pack together. We probably taped up your box and sent it to you.
Gotcha.
So having that unique small company customer experience is something we're proud of that I think a lot of customers value. We've also built a reputation for having the lighter weight of the load hauling packs. Again, kind of tying back into what I was just saying, all the companies are getting better and better about that, right? So when Stone Glacier first came out, their first pack, I think it was, pounds lighter than the next lightest pack out there. And so that was a real niche, unique thing for Stone Glacier that we built a reputation on. That gap of weight has become a lot tighter, but that's still something that we really design around is making sure we call it usable load. Mm-hmm. So really where Kurt's background is, and it's unique, right? It's a very small niche, but he lived in Alaska for a long time, and he would go, for 14 days at a time sometimes in the backcountry sheep hunting, right? And it was to the extent where you couldn't, if you killed an animal, you weren't going to take 2 trips, right? So it was, you can only carry so much as a human being.
Yep.
So cutting
down
your weight.
And I've heard him talk about taking like a 15-pound base pack and then some food or something.
Yeah.
It's
crazy. He's not everybody can do what he does, including myself. No. But the point being is that at a certain level, like there is a maximum that you can carry. And so cutting down your gear does become important. Yeah. For 95% of us doing the hunting the way we do, that's not necessarily as relevant or as important. But that's where the theory came in, and we still design around making sure that our packs don't have things you don't need on them, right?
Yeah.
Making sure that they are just the necessity to cut weight and to function efficiently. So we get that a lot from customers is, our products aren't really what some customers want. Like if you want a lot of pockets and you're into a lot of organization and putting things here and there, we might not be the best product for you, and we understand that. Yeah. There's people that do cater to that market, and that's fine. So it's a little unique from that standpoint.
Right. Yeah. I heard Kurt on the Meat Eater podcast talk about his sheep hunt in Montana. What do you call that sheep hunt there?
The Unlimited.
The Unlimited, where you just anybody can take a stab at it. And then he's gone out and been successful. And what are the odds of success on that hunt?
Gosh, I don't know. There's a few people that kill rams every year, but it's not many.
Something like 1%.
1 or 2%, I think, is what it normally is.
And that sucker pulled it off, so pretty sweet.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
Don't you have someone else in the office who did it too?
Yeah, we have Pete also killed them. We have 2 guys in our office that have killed unlimited rams, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's super cool.
He talked about that strategy too. Lightweight, going back, staying out for days, and then coming out with one load. What he did in Alaska seems to translate well to something like that.
Yeah, and he'd be an interesting guy for you to have on here someday too. He's kind of like Taylor, very quiet guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a big social media presence, doesn't talk much. You got to pry to get any words out of him. But Kurt's a very successful hunter. You look at, if you do get him to show you some pictures that tell you about some of the rams he's killed by himself, it's pretty impressive.
What's the culture at Stone Glacier? And I mean, kind of what do you feel like it stands for? Let's ask Taylor that.
Oh gosh, scared.
It's very
party.
Yeah, it's very relaxed. I mean, especially like if a customer comes in, one of the first things you see is our kegerator in our showroom. So we're not afraid to on the random occasion break out and drink some beers at lunch or coming up to our close time at 4. So. It's pretty relaxed. We have a good time. We have a lot of barbecues all the time going on. Summer times, even now, somebody kills something, and we're not afraid to take some backstrap out and throw it on the Traeger.
Oh, nice.
And do that. But we also work hard every day can be a grind. I mean, some days we bust our ass and got to get some packs out, and we got dealer orders coming in and customer orders and whatnot. So, it's a good mix. Everybody works really well together. I mean, everybody seems to love what they do, and everybody loves to hunt there, so we kind of all mesh really well.
So, Taylor, you strike me as a dude who would rather be out in the woods than anywhere else.
I would say.
And so, working at an outdoor hunting company, like I know here, like at Mountain Ops, everybody's die hard about hunting, but they need you during hunting season to work. So how do you balance that?
For everybody listening, that's a real thing. So
before you dive into the hunting industry and decide, I want to work, that. It's like, it's, I've seen it be a real struggle for some people. How is it down there at Stone Glacier?
I think we are.
Now's your chance to really complain.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain at all. Because I think I took the most time off out of everybody this year. But no, we're really fortunate enough where we do tend to have time to. I mean, like Jeff told me, he's like, we're a hunting company. Like, we need to get out there. We need to hunt. We need to test our products. We need to
Live
know
your
the
brand.
products. Yeah. So it's kind of nice. We get to do all that stuff, and he gives us time to get out there and
Taylor,
get it done.
was it last week? Last week at like 10 in the morning on maybe a Monday, Taylor says, I just got a text from my dad. He has a Tom treat and he wants my mom to shoot it. Can I go help him? I'm like, dude, it's Monday morning and it's 10 o'clock. We got a lot of stuff to do.
So I packed my stuff up and I went.
And his mom shot a big Tom.
That's pretty sweet.
So, yeah, and I've done that on several occasions. My brother went out with his wife, kind of middle of rifle season in Montana, another buddy, and he gives me a call at like 8 in the morning, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I'm like, shouldn't you be hunting right now? And he's like, yeah, about that. We just shot some bulls. I was like, oh, nice.
They shot 3 bulls.
3 bulls.
And they're like, we need help packing.
I'm like, all right, well, he's like, you're
That's
kind
a
of the
true
only
friend.
person I know who can get the time off and bring the mules up here and
He's
pack
like,
these
can you
things
load
out,
the
so-
mules up and help us? And Tay's like, hey, can I go help my brother pack out bulls?
So, yeah, very, very fortunate that I get to do that, and I think everybody around the office does as well. So Jeff's great about that, and no, I feel very fortunate to work at a company with that culture, and everybody's great.
Seems like you kind of need you need that culture where you work in this kind of with this kind of product and brand. It's like at Mountain Ops when they first started, they brought on a few people that didn't hunt but had really good skills in graphic arts, design, or something like that, and it just turned out that it didn't work with the culture.
Yeah.
There wasn't the excitement
I think,
among the people for the brand.
I think passion is underrated in hiring in the corporate world. Like you can't put that on your resume, right? You can't, I guess you could write something on your resume, but what I've seen a lot in my experience is companies hire to the resume and to the experience, which there's some value there, obviously, especially depending on the job. But you can't replace and you can't teach somebody passion for the brand and for the industry and for what they're doing. And that I think is underrated sometimes. So we look at, and we're a small team. There's only 7 of us at Stone Glacier, right? We're a very small company. But the way we look at it is finding the right people that are passionate about what we do and about our brand and about our products and about our culture. And we could teach those people, if they have the right work ethic, to do anything that the business needs. So I think when you look at hiring people that way, I feel like you get longer term hires that are going to be more effective for your company.
Yeah.
And we're really fortunate that all the people that we've hired, just 2 years ago, there's 3 of us at Stone Glacier. There's 7 of us now. 7's not a lot, but we've more than doubled in size.
Yeah.
And everybody, gets it. Everybody has that same mentality where, you can work hard and play hard. Like I'm okay. I want to drink beer on the afternoon at work too and barbecue, but we got to make sure we're getting our done and working hard. So as long as everybody's working hard, yeah, let's go hunting and play hard too.
So tell me this, because I know you when you founded 2% for Conservation, you've always wanted to give back and been involved in conservation. How does Stone Glacier? What's the culture there? How are you guys engaged in conservation? What do you do? Yeah,
I think we do a lot there too. It's interesting that, I founded 2% for Conservation. We hired an executive director now. So I kind of take a secondary role, if you can call it that. I just sit on the board now and help, Jared, who's the executive director, just kind of directional things. And I'm still really proud of what that organization's doing to try to get more businesses involved in conservation. So Stone Glacier is a member of 2% for Conservation. So we give back 1% of our sales to conservation groups. A lot of us do a lot of volunteer projects and work. Pete, who works in our office, founded and is executive director of the Rocky Mountain Goat Alliance.
Yep.
I still do 2% stuff. So within Stone Glacier in our offices, we have a lot of little side jobs where we're directly involved with conservation work, which I think is really cool too. And it's something that I want to make sure that we encourage people as well. Like I'm okay with you spending a little bit of your work day and your time doing things like that. We also work closely with the Wild Sheep Foundation. We donate to a bunch of other groups. This giveaway that we just did is not necessarily a conservation related thing, but I think it was really important for the hunting community. Mm-hmm. So anywhere we see opportunities for grassroots things where we can make an impact and be effective, being a small company we are, we're not afraid to try it and see what we could do.
Yeah.
So that's an important part of our culture too, is like, let's not disregard or forget about, what we need to ensure the long-term, viability of our business and our passions and our hobbies.
Yeah.
Make sure we're doing it.
The Goat Alliance, that's pretty neat. I've listened to Pete a couple of times on podcasts.
Yeah.
Different podcasts.
He's done a really good job with the Goat Alliance. It's a good organization and they do some really cool projects. So it's it's very much a hands-on organization. So they work with a lot of the different states, fish and game offices and biologists, and they're working with them to do surveys and counts and collarings and captures.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint of like the hands-on work, it's pretty cool. I mean, they do surveys all across the country where they just take volunteers in.
Yeah.
They partner with FWP in whatever state it is, where maybe they said, hey, we haven't counted, we don't know how many goats live in this mountain range. I think they did one right here in the Wasatch Front last year. But they'll work with them, and FWP doesn't have, maybe the bandwidth of the people to do a full count. They get an army of volunteers up there, they spread out, they have their maps, they go for a weekend, they count the goats, and they give it back to the Fish and Wildlife, and then they can use that. And they've Pete would be able to tell you better than I would, but they have direct results from that, where there's been a unit that has no tags. They went and counted the goats, and they have 2 goat tags they've given it.
Nice.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
That's direct results for hunters, to see like the benefit.
That's interesting. I mean, I think it's a great follow on Instagram. There's always some educational stuff out there.
Yeah.
At the
they
Goat
do a
Alliance.
good job.
And then, recently he posted how, and as you learn more about mountain goats versus bighorn, when you're dealing with sheep, you realize how fragile sheep are and how tough goats are.
Yeah.
And one of the things he mentioned was, there wasn't a goat foundation. You got sheep, you got Rocky Mountain elk, you got the Mule Deer Foundation. You seem to have one for everything,
Right.
but not goats.
Yeah.
And so he saw the need and he filled it, and they're working on it. And but one of the things he mentioned was, goats are tough, and they kind of didn't need an organization the way that sheep do.
Yeah.
And then recently he posted that there was something about 100 sheep need to be culled or moved because I think it was
Goats.
100 or goats. I mean, goats.
Yeah.
You're probably talking about an Olympic National Park.
I think so because of their impact on the bighorn, the struggling sheep population there.
Yeah, that might be something
I think
different.
that's the Tetons.
Is that the Tetons?
Was it?
Yep, the Tetons. They're talking about that, but in Washington, they're not native.
Yeah, there's
Right?
another
So they
interesting.
move 'em out of the park,
What?
Yeah, there's a very interesting dynamic going on in Olympic National Park where the National Park Service is eradicating the mountain goats from there because they aren't a native species. The debate is that they were there before it was actually a national park. So it's a he said, she said on like how the dynamics of that work. And I don't know the details, so I'm not going to speak too much of it. But the story being that they are capturing and removing all the mountain goats out of Olympic National Park and getting rid of them. Which to some may be a good thing, to others seems a little ridiculous.
I find that interesting.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of money spent to do that. And I wonder about the wisdom in that. We've had this discussion a few times. I mean, I'm curious, so TAR, New Zealand.
Yeah, they had a proposition for something similar recently. Yeah.
They're invasive, so they want to cull them all. All the mountain goats on Kodiak Island, all the caribou, all the Sitka blacktail, they're all invasive. But they're managed and used as a resource, and they're a great resource. And in this case with the mountain goats in the park, I wonder why there's that objective to get rid of them, especially when they are native to the United States, to this
interesting
region. And I'm just curious if, in the last, 10,000 years, if goats didn't live there, or 20,000 or 50,000, whatever it might be. It's sort of a,
it's an interesting debate. Yeah, I think that's the difference between, different governing organizations, right? So obviously the Forest Service and different state Fish, Wildlife, and Parks have a different perspective than the National Park Service does, I assume, is why this is the area they're focusing on. And yeah, I'd like to educate myself more on the details because it's interesting, but I'd got to assume the National Park Service thinks that, non-native species are, impacting the habitat in a way that is not natural, and that's why they want to get rid of them.
Well, it's interesting the way sheep struggle, and and the idea that, to remove the goats, to give the sheep a better chance. It's not like we're drowning in goat populations either.
Right.
It's like,
totally.
It just seems a little harsh to cull an entire population of sheep or remove them.
Yeah.
Goats, when, to protect, the sheep and.
Yeah, the biggest thing with sheep, which is a huge debate now. I know the Wild Sheep Foundation's been focusing a ton of energy on it. Is really the interaction between domestic sheep and wild sheep, and that's kind of the hot topic now. And I think they have some pretty strong data that shows that certain interactions are passing diseases along to wild sheep populations that they can't handle and are really devastating to them. And that's a tough dilemma too, right? I grew up in an agriculture family and those people are just trying to make a living. So it's hard to go tell somebody that they can't do what they're doing to put food on the table to raise their sheep where they are. A lot of those farms are generationally just in that area. You can't just pick up and move your family farm to somewhere else.
Right.
So there's a lot of layers to those dynamics too. And it sounds like they're doing a good job on really working with the local, farm organizations and trying to figure it out. Because at the end of the day, I think that the farmers are also, they get it. They don't want to be responsible for killing off, a species of wild animals in a certain geographic area, but they're in a hard spot because they got to make a living too. So there's a lot of challenges, biologically and politically with that dilemma.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
So Stone Glacier is kind of, you got quite a bit of projects going on and different people working for you that are very engaged.
Yeah. And, we hope that, that kind of goes along with the culture like Taylor was talking about. It's like, get involved. Like this is what you do for a living. If you're going to work for Stone Glacier, you work in the hunting industry, get involved and do what you can to help. And all of us do that at some level.
Yeah. That matters to me. That matters to me that an organization actually supports conservation and gives back to, the community that we're all part of. So
as it should. And that's where at Sitka, it started, that philosophy and culture really started early at Sitka and having that forward sight of just like, you're in business to make money, sure. But if you're not looking long term at protecting just our industry and what people do, then you're not being responsible with your business, I don't think, because if, this is very dramatic, but if something happened in hunting, we're not a thing anymore, right? Then as a hunting manufacturer, you're out of business. So you gotta have that kind of long-term thought process of protecting, just where you're getting your business from.
Yep. Wrapping up here, what can you tell us? Is there anything you can tell us about Stone Glacier that's coming up here soon?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have, we're going to be launching all of our new products for 2019 here in January. We've been putting a few leaks out there, so not too much is a secret now. We haven't really shared many details, but this will be the first year we've been working for 2.5 years now on coming out with some really unique technical clothing pieces.
Nice.
So that is going to be a big deal for us, and that's a big step into a new category for us. So we're really excited about that.
How do your friends next door feel about that? Like,
I think, I feel like I said before, healthy competition is good, and everybody's respectful of that. So I think it's all good. I have a lot of good friends that still work at Sitka, and I spent a lot of my career there, and I respect them a lot, and it'll be interesting. But yeah, I think that, it'll be good.
I think competition's good all the time.
Yeah, sure.
No matter what. It's just, I feel like that with podcasts,
Oh, yeah.
When I started the podcast like 4.5 years ago or so, there's like 3 podcasts in the hunting space.
Yeah, now there's a ton.
Now there's, there's like 100 or.
You get along with most other podcasters out there?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even be on, like, have them as guests, and I've helped a lot of people get started. Like, this is what you do. This is how I do it.
Yeah.
And shared that information because I don't think it does.
Awesome.
I don't think it really helps to, try. There's 2 ways of people kind of approach business. One is when there's competition, they try to block it out or stifle the competition by making it hard for them to enter the market, or even by suing them for taking an idea or whatever.
That happens.
Or there's the companies that just try to be the best.
Right.
They just try to improve the product they're delivering, try to be better at each thing. And I think that's really the only way. And because I'm a big believer in capitalism and all of that. So it's like,
yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think that, there's definitely some of those dynamics in our industry where people are maybe not as friendly as they could be to each other, but we don't, that's not our goal. I want to get along with everybody, whether you're a competitor or not. And we're going to keep our heads down. And just like you put it really well, let's just let's win by making the best product, not by being malicious and trying to,
Yep. That's so for me, anybody that comes on the scene to do a podcast or create media content of some kind that's valuable, like I'm a big consumer of that content,
Sure.
I've never had Kurt on the podcast, but I've heard his stories from other podcasts and really valued that.
Yeah.
I learned about the Goat Alliance from a different podcast.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I look at all of that as beneficial. And if I want my show to be relevant and valuable, then I need to figure out, how to create a product and value to people that keeps it there, and I think that's always pushing us to change and improve. And that's really the only way to I think, live in the world in a long-term way,
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. But in a couple weeks, we'll be announcing all of our new products, and there's some cool stuff in there. So it's exciting. Selfishly, I need a new sleeping bag really bad, so I'm excited about our sleeping bags coming out.
I'll have to see how those turn out.
But that's just me being selfish.
Yeah. No, isn't that how a lot of things start?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
You have something you want and you don't see that's on the market and you're like, dude, I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that. So.
Yeah, totally.
Well, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
You guys are heading back to Montana today?
Yeah, we're going to jump in the truck right now and make the final drive back home. And we got to get ready for trade shows. We got a lot of work to do before our first trade show here in a couple weeks. So.
Okay. If people want to stalk Taylor, how can they find you?
It's impossible. I hide in my shell.
Taylor's Insta famous, man. Taylor, we were joking on this. I was just telling Jordan, Taylor's the most famous guy that works at Stone Glacier. We literally get people that come into our shop and our showroom want to take selfies with Taylor.
I want to see what's your Instagram handle, Taylor?
Tay.dags.
Tay.dags. There we go.
I think
Boom.
Didn't we have during hunting season?
Tay.dags.
We had a couple of really nice guys come in that were from the Midwest this hunting season. They were out in Montana elk hunting. Came in the showroom, check out products, but they wanted to take selfies with Tay because their wives wanted pictures of Taylor.
I don't know. Smile and take the picture, I guess.
All right. And then Becky.
Yeah.
How many people stalk you?
None.
No Instagram, nothing.
I
You
have
call into
Instagram.
Stone
It's
Glacier,
kinda
you'll
private.
most likely Becky will answer the phone,
Gotcha.
so you can always talk to her.
And Jeff.
I keep a pretty low profile too.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, you come to Stone Glacier and I'm glad to chat with you. Come visit us at a trade show.
Nice. And you're going to be at which shows?
We are going to Safari Club in Reno first, and then we're driving straight from Reno to Dallas for Dallas Safari Club.
Okay.
And then we're driving back to Reno for Wild Sheep, and then to Western Hunter here in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
And we'll be at all 4 of those shows. And we really do love trade show season. It's awesome to see all of our customers come by and new customers show new products. So please do, if you hit any of those shows, come visit us. Taylor will be there signing autographs, taking selfies. So
I don't think we have room
Might
in
even
the
have
booth
to
for
have my own
that.
booth set up.
We're going to need more space.
yeah, maybe a Kiss Taylor booth.
Nice.
I don't know if my girlfriend would like that.
And people can follow Stone Glacier just at Stone Glacier
Yeah, absolutely.
on Instagram and
Yeah.
check you out on your website and so on.
Yep, stoneglacier.com and Instagram. Try to keep things pretty light on Instagram, so don't judge us. We are working if it looks like we're just playing all the time on there. But
Very cool. All right. Thanks for tuning in, folks, to the Gritty Podcast. And check out a little bit of Stone Glacier when you get a chance. And as always, stay gritty.